Most self-improvement techniques don't work. In fact, some of them might be making you poorer. Now, I know that sounds absurd. You spent years hearing that if you just visualize, if you think positive, if you repeat affirmations in the mirror every morning, success will come. But here's the problem, and that has a scientific name. Today, I'm going to show you exactly what's happening inside your brain when you try to change your financial reality and why 95% of people fail, not because they lack effort or discipline, but because of a neurological mistake no one ever explained to them. Here's the number that changes everything. Your conscious mind, the part of you that makes decisions, goals, says, this year's going to be different. This is approximately 40 bits of information per second. And your subconscious mind processes 11 million bits per second. That is not a metaphor. That's documented neurobiology from researcher Timothy Wilson at the University of Virginia. This is what it means in practical terms. 99.99% of what determines your results is happening in a part of your mind that you have no conscious access. So when somebody tells you, just change your thoughts, they're asking you to move a truck with your pinky finger. It's not that you're weak, it's that you're using the wrong tool. Now, how did that subconscious programming get there in the first place? Neuroscientist Bruce Lipton spent decades researching epigenetics and belief systems, and what he found changes everything. Before the age of 7, the human brain operates predominantly in theta waves. That's the same hypnotic brain state that occurs in an adult under deep hypnosis. That means that during your first years of life, you had no filter. You couldn't evaluate the information coming in. You couldn't say, well, that's not true, or I don't believe that, or that doesn't apply to me. Everything went straight in. If you watched your parents fight about money, recorded. If you heard money doesn't grow on trees, recorded. If you felt that asking for help was a sign of weakness, recorded. Now, decades later, those programs are still running in the background, quietly sabotaging every financial decision that you make without even noticing it. Lipton estimates that approximately 70% of those subconscious programs are negative, limiting, and outright counterproductive. Not because your parents were bad people, but because they were running their parents' programs. It's like an inheritance, just not genetic. It's a mental inheritance. And this is where quantum physics enters. And I want to be very precise here because a lot of people use quantum physics as a spiritual decoration without understanding what it actually means. Max Planck, the father of quantum theory, prize winner in physics, said something that almost no one in the self-improvement world quotes correctly. Matter, as such, does not exist. All matter originates and exists only by virtue of a force which brings the particles of an atom to vibration. And Planck wasn't a mystic. He was one of the most rigorous physicists in the 20th century. And what quantum physics demonstrated in laboratories with replicated experiments is that reality at the subatomic level is not fixed. It's probabilistic. And the state of the observer influences the outcome. The double slit experiment proved this decades ago. Subatomic particles behave differently depending on whether they're observed or not. The consciousness of the observer affects the physical reality. Again, that observer is you. This is published in Physical Review Letters. This is not a spirituality blog. It is one of the most rigorous scientific journals in the world. The heart map builds it. So what's the mistake that the self-improvement industry keeps making? Well, it works from the top down, conscious mind. It gives you goals, affirmations, vision boards, positive thinking. But Dr. Joe Dispenza, whose research includes over 15,000 people studied in meditation retreats with real-time EEG monitoring, documented that real change happens when you change the emotional state of the body, not just the thoughts in the mind, because the body has its own memory, its own nervous system, and its own automatic patterns. As long as your body keeps responding emotionally from the past, anxiety around risk, contraction around abundance, around success, positive thoughts are going to hit a wall every single time. Neuroscientist Antonio Damasio of the University of Southern California confirmed this in his research on patients that had damage to the prefrontal cortex. Without access to emotional states, Humans are incapable of making effective decisions. Emotions don't interfere with logic, they're an essential part. So, how do you actually reprogram this? Well, not with more information. Intervention at the subconscious level. There are 3 access points that neuroscience has validated. First is the theta state. Your brain enters theta waves naturally twice a day. The first 15 minutes after waking, when you're not fully awake yet, and the last 15 minutes before you go to sleep, when you're drifting in between that state of wakefulness and rest. In that state, critical filter of the conscious mind relaxes and your subconscious is open. So what you introduce in those 30 minutes daily, the neurological impact that is disproportionate to the rest of your day, not because it's magic, but because you're speaking directly to the operating system without the firewall. The second access point is cardiac coherence. The HeartMath Institute documented that when you generate coherence between the heart and the brain through rhythmic breathing and the activation of genuine positive emotion, not pretending that you feel something or hoping that you feel something, but actual genuine positive emotion, the body enters a receptive state that facilitates the programming of automatic patterns. The basic protocol is 5 seconds of an inhale, 5 seconds of an exhale, while you focus on the heart and a real emotion of genuine gratitude or appreciation. All it takes is 5 minutes twice a day. Some of the documented effects include reduced cortisol, heart rate variability, and more cognitive clarity. These are not spiritual effects. They're measurable in a laboratory. Now, the third access point is emotional repetition. Intellectual repetition, emotional repetition. And this is where almost everyone goes wrong with affirmations. Affirmations fail not because the idea is wrong. They fail because they're intellectual in these 40 bits of information that's coming into your brain. You say them with your mouth, but it's like you're reading off a shopping list and your body doesn't believe you. The subconscious listens to the body, not the words. Neuroscientist Donald Hebb established this in 1949 with what we now call Hebb's Rule. Neurons that fire together, wire together. Every time you combine a thought with an intense emotion and you repeat it, you are physically building new neural connections. You're literally changing the structure of your brain. The difference between visualization that works and visualization that doesn't is one single variable. It's the emotional intensity. It's not how many times you say it. It's how deeply you feel it while you're saying it. So let's go back to where we started. Self-improvement techniques don't work. And now you understand why. It's not that self-improvement is wrong. It's that most people are applying conscious level techniques, surface level techniques to subconscious level. It's like trying to upgrade your computer's operating system by changing your screensaver. Your subconscious mind processes 11 million bits per second. Your financial reality, your relationships, health is the output of that invisible operating system. Changing the output requires changing the program. And that is possible. Documented, it's measurable, and there's a protocol for doing it. So if this video opened something for you, please subscribe, because what we have coming up is a complete map. Reality responds to your consciousness, and now you know why. So please, like and subscribe, leave me some comments, let me know what your questions are, because I will make a video to answer those questions for you. All right, I'll talk to you soon.